the WNBA world is buzzing, and social media is ablaze. Tonight isn't just another game. It's a storm brewing between titans, and at the center stands MiLaysia Fulwiley, the league's latest lightning rod, whose meteoric rise has left even veterans like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese on edge. Fans are divided, analysts are panicked, and whispers of locker room tension are turning into deafening roars. Every highlight clip, every post, every subtle smirk in pre-game interviews has been dissected, memed, and shared, sometimes mercilessly, across Instagram, X, TikTok, and even TikTok's WNBA obsession corners. Meanwhile, Staley has gone public, sending a message so bold it's shaking up Team USA and WNBA insiders alike. "We're watching closely," she said in a press conference dripping with intensity, her eyes locking with the camera like a warning shot. The words alone are enough to make teammates shift uncomfortably, rivals smirk, and fans erupt in speculation. Is this about Fulwiley's unrelenting hustle, her unfiltered trash talk, or something far darker simmering behind closed doors? Locker rooms, Twitter threads, and YouTube reaction videos are all trending, but no one truly knows what's coming. Jealousy, ambition, and old rivalries are poised to explode. One viral clip could redefine careers overnight. One bad pass, one missed free throw, one whispered betrayal could unravel everything. And as the arena fills, the tension is tangible, crackling like static before a storm. But just as the national spotlight sharpens, whispers begin. There's more behind the headlines than anyone realizes. Something is about to break, spectacularly. MiLaysia Fulwiley's journey to this moment was never destined to be smooth. Born in a small Midwest town, she was always the tallest kid on the playground. But height alone didn't shield her from criticism. Coaches dismissed her as too raw, teammates envied her natural talent, and opponents tried to intimidate her with the kind of physical play that left others shaking. Yet MiLaysia's fire only grew, and by the time she reached high school, her name was whispered among scouts as someone who could redefine women's basketball. But whispers also breed jealousy. Paige Buchers, long celebrated as the sport's sweet-faced prodigy, found herself facing a new challenge in Fulwiley. A player unafraid to challenge narratives, to command attention without apology. Their rivalry would simmer for years, a slow-burning tension that fans would eventually label the clash of icons. The transition to the WNBA was brutal. Rookie season headlines alternated between awe at Fulwiley's explosive athleticism and subtle digs at her off-court behavior. Social media accounts lit up with theories. Was she overconfident? Was she a locker room disruptor? Every post, every smile at a press event, every playful jab at other stars became fodder for debate. Meanwhile, Aaliyah Boston, one of the league's fiercest defenders, reportedly avoided passing lanes whenever Fulwiley was on court, creating tension that the media couldn't ignore. Rumors swirled that even Kelsey Mitchell, normally cool under pressure, had confronted MiLaysia during a late-night team meeting, accusing her of stealing attention and disrupting chemistry. Off the court, Fulwiley's personal life added fuel to the fire. She lived under constant scrutiny, with Instagram followers numbering in the hundreds of thousands, tracking every fashion choice, every sponsored post, every public interaction. One viral post, a video of her celebrating a buzzer beater while silently mocking a rival team, sparked an uproar. Comments ranged from admiration to vitriol. "She's fearless," versus "she thinks she's untouchable." Even Staley reportedly weighed in behind closed doors, cautioning Team USA players about the potential for distraction. For MiLaysia, the scrutiny wasn't just external, it cut deep into her psyche. Every whisper, every backlash, every night spent scrolling through dissected videos compounded the pressure. Yet her emotional history is layered. Fulwiley wasn't merely a provocateur, she was fiercely loyal to those who earned her trust. Angel Reese, once a rival in college, became a rare confidant, helping her navigate not only game strategy, but the mental toll of living under constant observation. Still, the league's ecosystem is a pressure cooker. Envy, ambition, and public scrutiny constantly collide. Caitlin Clark, an unstoppable scorer and media darling, had a history of subtle antagonism toward Fulwiley, often questioning her consistency under pressure in interviews, even while privately acknowledging her talent. These interactions shaped Fulwiley, forging resilience, but also a simmering need for vindication. Then, there's the psychological weight of expectation. Fans, analysts, and teammates projected narratives onto her identity. The next big star, the locker room disruptor, the provocateur. Fulwiley's mental health battles were mostly private, shared only with her closest inner circle. Late nights alone, replaying games, reading tweets, questioning every choice, this became her ritual. The very pressures that drove her performance also haunted her sleep. Each season began as a chance to prove herself, and each misstep magnified under the lens of social media chaos. Even small slights, like a teammate laughing during a post-game interview, could be internalized as personal betrayals. But her rise was undeniable. Fulwiley's combination of athleticism, court vision, and charisma created moments that ignited arenas and sent highlight reels into viral overdrive. Fans adored her daring plays, her fearless drives to the hoop, her uncanny ability to dominate both ends of the floor. Yet every highlight sparked whispers. Was she too cocky? Too unpredictable? Could she handle the weight of being a league figurehead? The tension between talent and perception followed her like a shadow. Behind the scenes, league politics complicated everything further. Kathy Engelbert's office monitored not only the game's integrity, but the optics surrounding stars like Fulwiley. Allegations of favoritism in all-star selections, social media campaigns orchestrated by PR teams, and whispers of trade rumors all became part of the storm swirling around her. Teammates felt the strain. Locker room dynamics shifted as alliances formed. Some admired Fulwiley's fearlessness, others feared the disruption she might bring to cohesion. Angel Reese often mediated tense arguments between Fulwiley and teammates, but even she couldn't shield her from the full spectrum of envy and rivalry. This emotional tapestry of betrayal, scrutiny, ambition, and raw talent set the stage for the current storm. Fulwiley's career wasn't just about basketball. It was about survival in a world that scrutinized every word, every glance, every social media post. Her past rivalries, her whispered confrontations, and her public triumphs all built toward the moment when she would face not just an opposing team, but the full weight of league expectations, fan obsession, and media frenzy. Every step of her journey intensified the stakes. A single misstep tonight could ignite a scandal, a viral meltdown, or a betrayal so profound it would dominate headlines for months. And now, as the arena lights flicker and the crowd roars, MiLaysia Fulwiley steps onto the court. Every memory of past slights, rivalries, and heartbreaks feeding a controlled fury. The weight of history presses down, yet within her eyes burns a spark that refuses to be dimmed. But just as adrenaline courses through her veins, a whispered message reaches her phone, an ominous text hinting that someone close might not be who they seem. The locker room door swings open and she freezes. Because tonight, the real game isn't just on the court, it's about survival, exposure, and betrayal. The arena thrummed like a live wire, a cacophony of screaming fans, flashing cameras, and the relentless hum of social media alerts. MiLaysia Fulwiley stepped onto the polished court, every muscle tense, every sense sharpened. The first whistle blew, and immediately the heat was on. Caitlin Clark, ever the sharpshooter, was stationed at the top of the key, her eyes locking onto Fulwiley with a mixture of professional respect and simmering rivalry. Angel Reese hovered nearby, reading the defense, ready to intervene, ready to protect. But the tension in the air was electric, almost dangerous. From the tip-off, it was clear this game was unlike any other. Fulwiley's energy was raw, unpredictable. Each drive to the basket seemed fueled by years of personal grudges, public scrutiny, and the whispers of betrayal still echoing from her rookie season. Every steal she made was punctuated by a flash of defiance, a smirk at a defender who thought they could contain her. Paige Buchers, watching from the sidelines, adjusted constantly, her own anxiety palpable as she anticipated Fulwiley's every move. Even Kelsey Mitchell, usually unflappable, found herself tightening on defense, forced to respond to Fulwiley's unrelenting assault. Halfway through the first quarter, the first signs of chaos emerged. A controversial foul called against Fulwiley sparked outrage across the crowd, sending social media into overdrive. Clips of the referee's gesture circulated immediately. tagged with comments ranging from admiration of Fulwiley's resilience to accusations that she was flopping for attention. Staley, watching from the stands, leaned forward, her face a mask of both concern and calculation. She knew the psychological game had begun, and that Fulwiley had walked straight into the lion's den. But the real shock came near the end of the second quarter. As Fulwiley drove aggressively toward the hoop, she collided unexpectedly with MiLaysia Boston, sending both players tumbling. The impact was more than physical. It was a spark that ignited years of underlying tension. Boston, normally composed, glared at Fulwiley with barely concealed fury. The bench erupted. Angel Reese rushed over, trying to mediate, but the damage was done. Social media exploded with hashtags: #Boston vs Fulwiley, WNBA clash, locker room drama. Analysts dissected every angle, slow-motion replay after replay, debating whether Fulwiley had been reckless or if Boston had overreacted. In the locker room at halftime, the tension escalated. Voices overlapped, accusations flew, and alliances began to form. One teammate accused Fulwiley of playing for attention, not for the team, while another whispered that Boston had been deliberately trying to intimidate her. Angel Reese's attempts at mediation faltered as Caitlin Clark entered, her expression icy. "We all know what she's doing," Clark hissed under her breath. "This isn't basketball, it's a show." Fulwiley's jaw tightened, but her eyes blazed. She was determined not to let the whispers, the rivals, the analysts define her. Yet even she could feel the subtle undermining, the invisible web of tension threading through the room. Then came the first real shock, one that would leave fans reeling. A locker room phone buzzed, alerting someone to a viral leak. A video from earlier in the week showing Fulwiley in a private conversation, laughing at a teammate's minor mistake. Context was stripped, meaning twisted, and suddenly it looked like she had been mocking her own team. The video spread like wildfire. Within minutes, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok were flooded with outrage. Fans called for her suspension, pundits debated her loyalty, and league officials convened emergency meetings. Even Staley, always calculated, was forced to issue a statement acknowledging the situation under review. Fulwiley's career, her reputation, the fragile alliances she had built, all seemed to teeter on a knife's edge. By the third quarter, the game itself was secondary. The emotional stakes dominated. Fulwiley played with raw intensity, pushing herself beyond physical limits, but every basket she scored was met with polarized reactions: cheers from loyal fans, jeers from critics. Angel Reese was visibly anxious, caught between supporting her friend and managing team dynamics that had suddenly shifted into open conflict. Caitlin Clark's defense became relentless, almost personal, as if the court were a stage for decades of unspoken rivalry. Every pass Fulwiley made was scrutinized, every screen analyzed, every subtle smirk dissected. Then, the twist that would shock the league and fans alike: a sudden revelation from inside the team. Someone had leaked sensitive medical information about Fulwiley, suggesting she was carrying a minor injury and had been risking her health to play. The leak was anonymous, but the timing was calculated, coinciding perfectly with the viral locker room clip. Social media erupted. Fans debated ethics, pundits questioned league oversight, and teammates struggled with anger and disbelief. Allegiances shifted by the hour, and whispers of internal betrayal were everywhere. Even MiLaysia Boston, whose earlier clash had been public, privately questioned whether someone was deliberately trying to destabilize the locker room. The arena itself seemed to pulse with chaos. Cameras caught fleeting expressions, teammates whispering in corners, opponents exchanging smirks, coaches biting nails, and fans holding phones high to record every nuance. Analysts on YouTube channels, whose subscribers numbered in the millions, exaggerated every moment, turning the conflict into a narrative of personal war, league scandal, and psychological intrigue. Headlines exploded: Fulwiley's locker room betrayal, WNBA star leaks her own medical secrets, Clash of Titans, Clark vs Fulwiley. By the fourth quarter, Fulwiley's focus was absolute. Every shot, every defensive move, every stolen ball was fueled not just by skill, but by survival instinct. Angel Reese had her back, Kelsey Mitchell tried to hold the line, and Caitlin Clark became more than a competitor. She was a mirror reflecting Fulwiley's internal rage, her fear, and her brilliance. Each possession felt like a war, every point scored a declaration, every missed opportunity a potential trigger for chaos. And then it happened, the first shocking twist that no one expected. As Fulwiley went up for a contested layup, the ball slipped through her fingers in a bizarre, inexplicable moment. Cameras caught it all, the slow-motion fall, the audible gasp from the crowd, the silence that followed. But it wasn't just a mistake, it was sabotage. Later, whispers confirmed that someone on the team had subtly altered the court equipment during a brief timeout, creating a trap that only Fulwiley, with her aggressive play style, would encounter. The betrayal was intimate, personal, and public. Her face twisted in disbelief and fury, and the crowd, half stunned, half enraged, couldn't tear their eyes away. Social media went ballistic. TikTok videos dissected the moment endlessly. Hashtags multiplied: betrayal on the court, sabotage scandal, Fulwiley vs. the world. Fans demanded answers, league officials promised investigations, and the locker room became a tinderbox. Angel Reese tried to reach her, but Fulwiley stormed past, fists clenched, eyes blazing. Even commentators paused, struggling to describe the mix of athleticism, fury, and betrayal unraveling in real time. And just as the final buzzer sounded, the cliffhanger dropped. A cryptic Instagram story from an anonymous account showing the altered court, a shadowy figure walking away, and a single phrase typed in bold. This is only the beginning. The arena erupted. Analysts predicted months of fallout. Fans argued endlessly online. Teammates looked at one another, trust shattered. The WNBA had just witnessed a public spectacle of betrayal, skill, and psychological warfare, and the story was far from over. Fulwiley's career, reputation, and even her relationships within the team had been thrown into chaos, and no one knew who to trust. The fallout from the court sabotage didn't just linger, it metastasized. By the following morning, WNBA social media channels were exploding with speculation, reaction videos, and conspiracy threads that made the viral locker room clip look tame. MiLaysia Fulwiley awoke to hundreds of notifications, messages from fans, teammates, and even anonymous tips hinting at deeper secrets. Her phone buzzed relentlessly, a constant reminder that the game had become a psychological battlefield. Every notification felt like a match striking dry tinder. The league's landscape had shifted overnight. Inside the team hotel, tension was palpable. Angel Reese tried to broker calm, walking quietly through the hallway to find Fulwiley already pacing, fists clenching and unclenching, eyes wild with anger and disbelief. "They tried to break me last night," Fulwiley muttered under her breath, her voice tight. "And they almost did." Reese placed a calming hand on her shoulder, but Fulwiley jerked away, storming toward the meeting room where the coaches and Staley were already gathered for an emergency strategy session. The atmosphere inside was suffocating. Whispers, accusations, and hidden glances circulating like a virus. The league's response was swift but opaque. Kathy Engelbert released a public statement promising an investigation, but insiders whispered that the WNBA was more concerned with optics than truth. Analysts speculated that the sabotage might have been orchestrated by someone seeking leverage, perhaps to influence trades, draft positioning, or sponsorship deals. Every possibility seemed plausible. Every rumor added fuel to the fire. Even seasoned commentators admitted they had never seen a situation so toxic, so layered with psychological intrigue and public scrutiny. Meanwhile, social media continued to amplify every tension point. TikTokers recreated the sabotage scene in slow motion, overlaying dramatic music and captioning it with theories ranging from internal team warfare to an agent trying to destroy Fulwiley's career. YouTube reaction channels exploded. Thumbnails showed Fulwiley screaming, Boston staring, Clark smirking, and captions reading, "Betrayal in the WNBA locker room. Who did it?" Subscribers debated endlessly in comment sections, fueling narratives of jealousy, manipulation, and revenge. Amid this chaos, Fulwiley faced her teammates. Locker room dynamics had fractured irreparably. Some players, worried about their public images, began distancing themselves. Others whispered privately, hinting that the sabotage was more calculated than anyone realized. Angel Reese became her only consistent ally, but even she was forced to navigate tricky politics, avoiding open confrontation while still defending Fulwiley. The psychological toll was immense. Fulwiley felt exposed, isolated, and hunted. Every glance from a teammate, every hushed conversation, felt like a dagger poised to strike. On the court, the escalation was brutal. Every game following the sabotage became an arena of suspicion, intimidation, and hyper-intense performance. Caitlin Clark played with renewed ferocity, as though each point against Fulwiley carried the weight of unresolved rivalries and unspoken grudges. Aaliyah Boston's defensive presence was sharper, almost personal, forcing Fulwiley to adapt in real time or risk falling behind. Even Kelsey Mitchell, previously neutral, began taking subtle swipes at Fulwiley in post-game interviews, highlighting minor mistakes with a tone that suggested insider knowledge. And then, just when it seemed the situation couldn't intensify further, the second major twist hit, the kind that shook the WNBA universe. An anonymous source leaked a set of internal texts allegedly from a team manager, suggesting the sabotage wasn't spontaneous, it had been planned weeks in advance. The messages named specific players, hinted at internal conspiracies, and even referenced Fulwiley's injury, implying that someone had calculated how far she would push herself on the court before the setup would take effect. The leak was complete with screenshots, timestamps, and a tone so vindictive that it painted a picture of betrayal not just as a single act, but as a coordinated campaign. The reaction was immediate and explosive. Fans were enraged, dividing into factions defending Fulwiley, condemning the suspected players, and criticizing the league for failing to safeguard its athletes. Twitter threads ran into thousands of comments per minute. Instagram Reels dissected every text, every nuance, and every subtle implication. TikTok creators speculated about the shadow player orchestrating the chaos, creating viral clips that demanded answers, encouraged outrage, and threatened reputations. YouTube channels posted reaction videos titled WNBA's Biggest Betrayal. Fulwiley's locker room scandal exposed. Inside the team hotel, the revelation ignited a war of whispers and accusations. Teammates confronted one another privately, some in tears, others in anger. Angel Reese tried to mediate again, but the network of deceit was so tangled it felt impossible to unravel. Fulwiley, normally composed under pressure, finally let her guard slip. In a hallway confrontation with an unnamed teammate, she shouted, her voice echoing down the corridor. "I trusted you. I trusted all of you." The words carried like a thunderclap. Other players froze, uncertain who the accusation was meant for, who would respond, and who might crumble under scrutiny. The psychological intensity reached its peak during a media session arranged midweek. Reporters pressed Fulwiley relentlessly, forcing her to answer questions about the sabotage, the leaks, the anonymous texts, and the whispered allegations. Every answer was scrutinized, every pause interpreted as guilt, every emotion dissected for meaning. Fans on X debated her tone, fans on Instagram speculated about her body language, and YouTube commentators claimed that Fulwiley's emotional state is crumbling under league pressure. Yet beneath the public exposure, Fulwiley maintained a dangerous poise, the kind that hinted at both resilience and a capacity for ruthless retaliation. The next escalation came in the form of subtle sabotage on the court. In the following game, Fulwiley noticed suspicious behavior from bench players. Delayed substitutions, whispered signals, and defensive rotations that seemed intentionally misaligned. Even Angel Reese admitted she was unsure who to trust. Analysts speculated about ghost plays or subtle manipulation tactics designed to undermine Fulwiley's performance. Every pass, every screen, every step became a battlefield. Each moment carried the weight of strategy, psychology, and personal vendetta, transforming a professional game into a near-apocalyptic struggle for survival. And then, the second twist, the one that would redefine the narrative entirely, was revealed. A leaked document surfaced on social media, allegedly showing an internal league memo discussing Fulwiley's potential suspension due to unverified allegations of incitement and locker room disruption. The document, seemingly from the WNBA office, implied that league officials might intervene in ways that could affect her career trajectory. Fans exploded online, accusing the league of bias, corruption, and mishandling player safety. Headlines across ESPN, Bleacher Report, and every viral YouTube sports channel screamed, Fulwiley targeted by the league. Shocking WNBA leak exposes internal politics. The tension reached a breaking point in the locker room before the next game. Fulwiley confronted her teammates publicly, slamming her hands against the table. "If anyone is working against me, now's the time to speak." Cameras from social media accounts broadcast the moment live, creating hundreds of viral clips within minutes. The arena outside was buzzing. Fans were divided, some chanting her name, others demanding accountability. Angel Reese stood by her, but even her steady presence couldn't prevent the emotional earthquake shaking every player in that room. By the end of the day, Fulwiley was left alone with the realization that betrayal had layers she hadn't anticipated. A sabotage, a leak, a potential suspension, and the psychological torment from teammates and rivals had combined into a perfect storm. The social media chaos, locker room drama, and league politics converged into a pressure cooker environment that threatened not only her career, but her mental health. And yet, in the eye of the storm, she felt a dangerous clarity, a determination to fight back, to expose the rot within the team and perhaps the league itself. But as she prepared for the next showdown, a cryptic message appeared on her private account, one she didn't recognize. "You're closer than you think, but some secrets can't be undone." The words were unsettling, the sender unknown, and the timing impeccable. Fulwiley's pulse quickened. The stage was set not just for a game, but for a battle of wills, trust, and survival. The storm wasn't just escalating, it was about to hit its most explosive point. The morning after the second twist, the WNBA universe erupted. Social media platforms became battlegrounds, with hashtags trending worldwide. Fulwiley betrayed, WNBA chaos, locker room leaks, and league corruption dominated feeds. TikTok creators stitched viral clips of Fulwiley's court sabotage, with commentary about possible conspiracies, slow-motion replays, and emotional breakdowns. YouTube reaction channels uploaded hours of content dissecting her every move, every glance, every post-game quote. The comments section was a war zone. Fans accusing teammates of betrayal, analysts questioning league integrity, and critics attacking Fulwiley for instigating drama. Even mainstream media joined the frenzy. ESPN ran a segment titled WNBA Locker Room War, Fulwiley at the center of storm, while Bleacher Report published an investigative thread detailing alleged internal leaks, sabotage, and questionable league oversight. Headlines speculated whether her career was at risk, questioning if Dawn Staley or Kathy Engelbert would intervene decisively, or if political maneuvering would determine Fulwiley's fate. The public fallout wasn't limited to online spaces. Sponsors started evaluating their partnerships. One major athletic brand reportedly delayed a Fulwiley campaign, citing concerns over ongoing controversies. Another brand released a vague statement praising the league for maintaining integrity and professionalism, leaving fans speculating that the implicit target was her. Agents and managers scrambled, worried about how the rapidly evolving drama could affect endorsements, trade prospects, and team dynamics. Fulwiley's career suddenly felt like walking on a wire above a crowd of relentless critics, each one waiting for a misstep. Within the league, the emotional fallout was just as explosive. Teammates were polarized. Some rallied behind Fulwiley, offering private support, while others withdrew, wary of public association. Angel Reese tried to mediate, but even she admitted the team had fractured irreparably. The locker room, once a place of camaraderie, became a tense arena of whispered accusations, sidelong glances, and quiet confrontations. Analysts on sports podcasts speculated openly about mutiny within the squad, fueling a narrative of internal chaos that painted Fulwiley as both a victim and a provocateur. The fans were relentless. Some organized online campaigns demanding justice for Fulwiley, calling out teammates allegedly involved in the sabotage. Others accused her of creating her own drama, highlighting clips where she seemed to taunt opponents or celebrate excessively after difficult plays. The debate spilled into the real world. Fans crowded outside arenas, holding signs, chanting her name or questioning her loyalty. Every post, every media appearance, every movement on the court was dissected, criticized, or celebrated, leaving no room for privacy, respite, or human error. The emotional toll hit Fulwiley hard. Alone in her hotel room, she scrolled through screenshots of comments, reposts, and news articles. The avalanche of judgment, suspicion, and gossip was suffocating. Her phone buzzed constantly with messages from reporters, agents, teammates, and strangers, each one a reminder that her life had become public property. The weight of expectation, betrayal, and scrutiny pressed down like an iron vice. She felt rage, fear, and exhaustion all at once, a volatile cocktail that threatened to overwhelm even her legendary focus. Locker room dynamics worsened. Angel Reese reported that subtle hostilities continued. Teammates hesitated to pass the ball, sidelong glances during huddles turned into whispered conversations, and some players avoided Fulwiley entirely. Rumors of leaks continued circulating, suggesting that private conversations were being recorded and shared, further heightening distrust. Even the coaching staff faced scrutiny. Dawn Staley's calm public demeanor was interpreted by some as tacit approval of the internal chaos, prompting more online backlash. Public pressure amplified personal tension. Fulwiley's relationships outside the team began to strain. Family, friends, and mentors received angry DMs, conspiracy theories, and accusatory messages intended for her. Angel Reese, her closest ally, struggled to protect her while balancing her own career and public image. Caitlin Clark's subtle taunts and smirks during games took on new meaning in the eyes of a frenzied audience, casting every on-court interaction as a symbolic battle in a war of perception. By midweek, even league offices felt the heat. Kathy Engelbert reportedly convened multiple emergency meetings, discussing potential disciplinary actions, public statements, and strategies to contain the viral chaos. Behind the closed doors, some officials debated quietly whether the leaks and sabotage pointed to a deeper rot within the team. Possibly a network of players or staff motivated by jealousy, ambition, or personal vendettas. Every decision carried immense stakes. Misstep publicly, and the league would face backlash for failing to protect its athletes. Misstep privately, and Fulwiley's career could be destroyed. The media frenzy reached fever pitch when Fulwiley's next post-game press conference went viral. Her voice was steady but heavy with emotion, her eyes glistening as she addressed both fans and critics. "I didn't create this drama," she said. "I play basketball, I fight for my team, and I won't apologize for giving everything I have, even when some try to break me." Clips of her speech flooded social media immediately, each fragment dissected, captioned, and shared thousands of times. Fan reactions polarized further. Admiration and outrage collided, and the narrative spiraled into a maelstrom of speculation, empathy, and vitriol. By the end of the week, Fulwiley's world had shifted permanently. Her reputation, once ascending with dazzling highlights and viral plays, was now embroiled in scandal, social media chaos, and locker room distrust. Every ally, every opponent, every fan had a stake, and every whisper threatened to explode into a headline. Fulwiley realized she wasn't just fighting for victories on the court, she was fighting to survive a war that spanned every public and private arena. Social media, league politics, locker rooms, sponsorship deals, and fan scrutiny. And just as she thought the storm might peak, a new, chilling development arrived. A direct message on her private account from an anonymous source. The words were stark, almost taunting. "You've only seen the tip of the iceberg. Tonight, everyone will learn the truth." Fulwiley's pulse spiked. The message didn't just imply danger. It promised a revelation that could tear the WNBA apart, destabilize careers, and redefine loyalties. The fallout had begun, but the real chaos was yet to come. The night of the next matchup arrived, and the tension was suffocating. The arena was packed to capacity, every fan eager to witness what had become the WNBA's most electrifying and controversial spectacle. Cameras circled the players like predators. Social media feeds erupted in real time, TikTok clips trending within seconds of tip-off, YouTube live streams capturing every angle, and X threads exploding with speculation. The leak, the sabotage, the whispered betrayals, it all culminated here. And at the center, MiLaysia Fulwiley walked onto the court with an intensity that made even the veterans pause. From the opening possession, the game was a psychological minefield. Caitlin Clark's glare, Aaliyah Boston's defensive sharpness, and Kelsey Mitchell's subtle taunts transformed each play into more than a battle for points. It was a war for perception, for loyalty, for survival. Fulwiley's every movement carried the weight of the past weeks. Leaked messages, sabotaged plays, and a fracturing locker room. Angel Reese stayed by her side, whispering strategies and support, but even her presence couldn't shield Fulwiley from the storm of scrutiny in the stands, on social media, and in the league offices. Midway through the second quarter, Fulwiley executed a spectacular drive, dunking over 2 defenders. The arena erupted, and fans went wild, but the celebration was short-lived. Cameras caught something subtle yet shocking. A rival teammate, supposedly supportive, gave a barely perceptible nod to an assistant coach. That single gesture sent chills down Fulwiley's spine. Could it be that someone in the locker room was coordinating with the opposition? Could her own team be working against her in real time? Social media seized on the moment instantly, with posts captioned "Inside Job" and "Team Betrayal Exposed Live." Then came the moment no one saw coming. A phone, forgotten on the scorer's table, buzzed loudly. The screen illuminated with an incoming video call from an anonymous account labeled "The Truth." Fulwiley's eyes widened as she glimpsed a shadowy figure speaking. The person claimed to have orchestrated both the sabotage and the leaks. Their motive was chilling, a combination of jealousy, power, and a desire to destabilize her rise in the league. The camera angle was revealing enough to suggest the figure might even be someone within the WNBA staff, possibly a manager or scout, someone who had unparalleled access to confidential information. The arena held its collective breath as Fulwiley froze, torn between the need to continue the game and the urgency to uncover the identity of her betrayer. The social media fallout was instantaneous. Fans screencapped the moment, speculation skyrocketed, and YouTube channels exploded with thumbnails reading, "WNBA Insider Exposed. Fulwiley Betrayal Shocker." Analysts debated whether Fulwiley should continue the game or confront the individual immediately. Every highlight was now intertwined with the narrative of espionage, conspiracy, and league scandal. Headlines screamed across platforms. Fulwiley's career threatened by insider betrayal. Locker room war escalates to criminal territory. The WNBA never saw this coming. Even the crowd felt the tension. Some fans cheered for Fulwiley's performance, others waved signs accusing unseen enemies. Cameras caught fleeting interactions. Teammates casting nervous glances, Angel Reese signaling subtly from the bench, and Caitlin Clark appearing unusually restrained, perhaps aware of the unfolding drama. The narrative was no longer about points or rebounds. It was about trust, loyalty, and survival. Then, in the third quarter, the final twist dropped. The anonymous video revealed evidence of prior communications between certain teammates and opposing players, hinting at deliberate attempts to manipulate game outcomes. Contracts, emails, even recordings suggested the scandal went far beyond what anyone had imagined. The revelations were so explosive that the league's legal and PR teams reportedly convened emergency meetings during the live broadcast. Viewers and fans alike were left in shock, wondering whether Fulwiley's incredible performance had been engineered to make the betrayal more dramatic, or if she had unknowingly been playing in a trap all along. Fulwiley, face set and jaw tight, realized that nothing about her current reality could be trusted. Her allies, her teammates, even her closest confidants could no longer be seen as safe. Angel Reese, while still loyal, admitted under her breath that they had no full picture. Even she couldn't confirm who could be trusted. Every glance on the court, every cheer or smirk from the bench, carried the possibility of deception. The emotional weight was crushing. As the fourth quarter approached, the arena held a tense, almost cinematic silence. Fulwiley took a moment at center court, inhaling deeply, trying to center herself amid a storm of chaos. The shadow of the betrayal, the viral leaks, and the unfolding league scandal pressed down on her. Cameras zoomed in on her eyes, capturing a mix of fury, determination, and vulnerability that would define every highlight in the coming years. Social media exploded with analysis, fan theories, and viral memes, ensuring that the story would continue long after the final whistle. And then, the cliffhanger. A mysterious figure appeared on the far side of the arena, partially obscured by shadows, filming the game with an unmarked device. Fulwiley froze, recognizing a subtle movement, a hand signal she had seen once in one of the leaked videos. Her blood ran cold. Someone was watching her, possibly live streaming, possibly orchestrating the next chapter of chaos. The camera angle suggested this person was inside the league, someone with access and motive. The final message on the anonymous call flashed across her phone before it ended. "It's closer than you think. When the buzzer sounds, everyone will know the truth, and no one will be safe." The crowd erupted in cheers, oblivious to the storm brewing beneath the surface. Fulwiley clenched her fists, staring at the shadowy figure, heart-hammering, realizing that the real battle hadn't even begun. Trust had been shattered, betrayal lay everywhere, and social media, fans, and league politics would ensure the drama reached heights no one could imagine. As the buzzer sounded to end the quarter, the screen faded to black in real time for millions of viewers streaming online. The cliffhanger was undeniable. The WNBA had just become a battlefield not just for points, but for power, perception, and survival. And Fulwiley, at the epicenter, understood one terrifying truth. The next move would decide everything: her career, her legacy, and perhaps the league itself. Fans, analysts, and the WNBA community, you've witnessed the storm unfold. MiLaysia Fulwiley's world has been turned upside down. Sabotage, leaked messages, locker room betrayals, and shocking league conspiracies. Every moment has been dissected, shared, and debated across social media platforms. Every highlight, every sidelong glance, every whispered interaction has sparked conversation, controversy, and obsession. And yet, the story is far from over. Now it's your turn to be part of the conversation. Share your theories, your reactions, and your support across Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube. Replay every clip, analyze every glance, and ask the questions no one else is brave enough to ask. Who is orchestrating the chaos behind the scenes? Which alliances are genuine? How will Fulwiley navigate a battlefield of trust, betrayal, and public scrutiny? Every post, every comment, every shared video keeps this drama alive, spreading it across millions of fans worldwide. Don't just watch, engage. Create your own breakdown videos, thread your own conspiracy theories, and dive deep into the analysis. Challenge the narratives presented in mainstream media. Share screenshots of viral clips, dissect slow-motion replays, and weigh in on the drama unfolding live. The WNBA's biggest scandal, full of emotion, intensity, and shocking twists, is being written in real time, and your voice matters. And most importantly, stay tuned. Follow MiLaysia Fulwiley, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and other key players across their official channels. Watch live games, check reactions immediately, and track every unfolding revelation. This isn't just a story. It's an ongoing saga of rivalry, betrayal, and resilience that will define careers, shape legacies, and electrify the WNBA universe. The question remains: who will survive the storm? Who will emerge unscathed? And who will fall victim to the chaos behind closed doors? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. This is the moment that will define a generation of players, fans, and legends. Don't miss a single second. Engage, debate, share, witness history. Witness history.